All right, it's August the 20th of 2025, and the reason why I got online to do a video, it's a couple of reasons. But the main one I wanted to talk about was the fact that, dang, hold on. The fact that I just made some, ooh, my memory is, ooh, okay. I just made some date, what I want to call it. I guess I'm going to call it a date. It's not syrup, and it's not a paste. It's like date cream. How about that? And that's what it probably is, date cream. And the reason why I call it date cream, you know, I got the Ninja Creamy, right? And I've been trying to let me just start from the beginning. I had some oranges that I boiled. And then there was 2 oranges. And so one of them I ground up with some coconut milk. I don't think I had any more cream because I had some coconut cream, which is a little bit different than coconut milk. But I ground it up with some coconut cream, and I had just a tinge of honey that I put in there. And so for 2 days, I've been coming home from work, putting this in the creaming and eating it. So yesterday when I came home was the first day. I creamed it up, and it was real powdery at first. When it starts to melt, then it changed consistency, but it's real powdery. I haven't actually honed in my skills on my Ninja Creamy, but I will. At any rate, so I had another orange that the peeling was drying out on. I didn't want to eat, so I peeled it, and I stuck it in here. And I put it back in the freezer. So when I got home from work again, I took it out, put it in there. The orange, because it was probably like, maybe like this, where the orange made it all the way up to the top again. And so when it got through doing it, it was all the way up at the top, and it was all, you know, crumbly and, you know, dry looking. It wasn't like this, because I let it sit for a while, and it melts, and then it gets like this, and I like the creamy taste. Anyway, when I tasted it again, it still had that bitter taste that the orange peel puts on anything. But if you put the right amount of sugar in what I made, it would be like a creamsicle. But I try to stay from sugar. I try to stay away from sugar, and I usually use coconut sugar. But I don't have any regular sugar, any coconut sugar, nothing in the house. But I had a whole container full of pitted dates that I didn't really like, because I think taking the pit out of dates makes them dry up, and so they just look like big-ass cockroaches, which is not very appetizing. And so they just been sitting in the closet. And I thought, man, I'm going to make, well, I started looking up on YouTube different recipes of how you make date syrup. I remember I saw a video a while back on TikTok where this girl made like a date whip. Like whipped butter, but it was made out of dates. And I didn't know how to post the question for that video to come up. It didn't come up. And so a bunch of date syrup videos came up. And they made a whole, like, you got to rinse the dates. I mean, some people do too much with the recipes. They do. But they gave me an idea anyway. So I just decided to use the water that I boiled the oranges in to cook the dates. and I wouldn't say cook it, but make them pliable enough that I could blend them up. And so I put them on the stove on low, and then took my dog for a walk and came back. When I got back, I turned the fire back up a little bit and let it boil a little bit. Then I stopped it, and I scooped it all out with a strainer into my Ninja blender. And then I really wanted, no, before I did that, I really wanted to put some more sugar in my creamsicle, because that's what that is. And I looked and I looked and I looked. I thought maybe I had some hidden sugar somewhere, because I used to have some date sugar. I must have used all that up. And then I had this container of like real sugar that I had hid in the closet, but I must have used that at some point, so it was all gone. It wasn't nothing but a little bitty jar full anyway. So I ain't got no sugar in the house, and I really wanted this, and I knew it needed to be sweeter than it was in order for me to eat it, or I wasn't gonna eat it. So while I was looking for the sugar and the dates was boiling, I found this cacao butter. Now, I'm going to tell you, I probably done had this cacao butter maybe 3 years. I ain't going to even lie. It might be longer than that. It might be longer than that. But I had never used it before. This is what it looked like. But these are edible. This is not for the body. And so I decided that I was going to put the cacao butter in with the dates that was steaming hot. Do you hear me? Because they had been boiling. Baby, that shit whipped up, and I mean, it smelled amazing. It smelled chocolatey to me when I was smelling it while I was in the blender. When I got finished, I took a scoop of it. Probably this spoon right here. I took a scoop of it, put it in here, and then hit the remix on the Ninja Creami so it can mix it in. Y'all, this shit is good, and it ain't like sweet, like sugar sweet. It's just sweet enough for me to be able to withstand the orange peel. Man, it's so fire. It is so fire. And I know I'm not having no sugar spike or nothing. I am doing really good too on my new living. It's been a week and 2 days, and I have had nothing but fruit. And I can't technically say I haven't had nothing but fruit, because I did have fish on Friday last week because some coworkers wanted to go out to lunch. And I just, like tired of, explaining and telling people what I'm doing, and then they using something that I said against me. And so I went out to lunch with them, and I tried to find something on the menu that I could eat at an Indian restaurant. The only thing I was willing to eat was the fish. And they said it was fried fish. The fish came out red. I mean, like fire red. The batter. So I hope they didn't use that red food coloring, but ain't nothing I can do about it now. At any rate, I had that on Friday. I had the fish on Friday. And I've been having broccoli for lunch. Roasted broccoli in the air fryer at work. But outside of that, all I've eaten is oranges, peaches, blackberries, blueberries, bananas, guacamole, and bone broth. For 9 days now. And this stuff, if I have it, which is like having a smoothie, because this is just fruit blended up in a way that makes it like ice cream. Shit good as hell. But my plan is to be a fruitarian. And I got that from Yaki. I got that from Yaki Awaken. I still listen to him because he got good information. And all I'm trying to be like is Babette. When I'm 70 years old, I want to look as good as Babette do, or if not better. And I'm on my way there. I could feel it. My mental and emotional thing is lining out. Because I noticed that when my mom was in the hospital last month, and I was having to deal with her and my sister, I don't know why this is the case, and I need to like really pay attention to it when it starts to happen. When I get overwhelmed and stressed out for having to deal with them, I stop taking care of myself, and I stop taking my supplements. I literally stopped probably for the whole 2nd week of July, the whole 3rd week of July, and the whole 4th week of July. So the 4th week of July, that's what I consider my period, not period, because I don't have one of them no more, but I get this emotional, like, menopausal thing where I be like depressed and crying easily, and just all kind of stuff be going on, but it's mostly mental and emotional. I have some physical things, like I might have a little bit of cramping. This last year, probably year or so, I've been having like spotting, but nothing, remotely close to a real menstruation. But either way, that last week of the month and the first week of the next month, oh, them some wicked. But they stopped being wicked in February when I was taking my supplements regularly. And if I haven't said this before on her, I make my own supplements. I order whatever I feel is best for me. I order the root of it if I can, or sometimes I get the powder form of it. And I sit up and I make my own supplements. And so everything I take, I make. I don't take no type of medications from the sick model that the medical field follows. And from February all the way into July, I felt great. I didn't have that, really dip low. Like I had like some hints of it, but it was real light because I was taking my supplements. When I take stuff like black cohosh and black seed oil and sarsaparilla and blue vervain and blue cohosh and lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps, turkey tail. Oh, I could go on and on with the herbs that I buy to make my supplements, but I was in a good state. But having to deal with them every day, I was just like, I don't know. My go-to is just to stop doing what I do for me. And I literally was surviving off of what I had to do for them. But I wasn't doing nothing for myself. The only thing I was doing for myself, maybe, was getting up and bathing. But I wasn't even doing that for myself, because I was doing that because I had to be out in the street, because on the weekend, when I didn't go anywhere, I didn't bathe. I just laid around in this dirty ass house, and take my dog out twice a day. But that's all kind of negative. I didn't come on here to be negative today. I came over here to talk about my date concoction that I made that is really good, which I'm going to put in my mushroom coffee, which is another thing that I feel is really helping me. That mushroom coffee. I make my own mushroom coffee. I know it's a lot of people that make mushroom coffee, but I make my own mushroom coffee, and all I do is combine a bunch of different types of mushrooms powders. I got lion's mane, cordyceps, reishi, I can't think. I think I got a couple of more different types of mushrooms, and then in my concoction, I have that. Plus, I put Diatomaceous earth. I don't know. Some shit I bought for my dog that's edible. That's supposed to help with parasites. So I put that in there. I recently started adding turmeric and pepper, red pepper flakes. But I make sure I always put coconut oil in it. Just, solid coconut oil. And cacao powder. Cacao powder is what gives me the ability to drink it, because it gives it the flavor that make it taste good. Now, some mornings I make it and it be perfect. And some mornings I make it and it just be off a little bit. Today, when I made it, I didn't have no honey or no sweetener or nothing. So I added 3 of the other dates, because I got another bag of dates that got the seeds in them still. Big fat ones. Made and sold by this same company that sold this cacao powder. Cacao butter. So I put 3 of the dates in there after I took the seeds out. And I always blend it well. I did notice earlier this week I tried not to blend it on Monday, because since I add the turmeric to it, it is turning my blender yellow. And so I tried to use my emulsifier to do it. But the emulsifier do not blend it up real, because at the end of the day, when I was drinking the very last of it, it was real gritty and it had a bunch of stuff that had not just gotten blended up like that blender do. That blender blends it up where it's so smooth. Everything is just blended up together. It's not going to separate, even though, I sometimes end up drinking it all day, but I always finish it. So, where was I going with that story? Oh, that mushroom coffee, that helps my mental, because it got all kind. That lion's mane by itself, I'm sure. And I grew my own lion's mane. That's a whole nother story. I had went on a foraging hunt earlier this year for morels, and learned a little bit about all kinds of mushrooms. And they had a little, what they call it, a crash course in growing lion's mane. And so I paid the $20 extra for the course, and basically they just gave you all the ingredients that you needed to grow it at home, and showed you and told you what to do. And I followed the thing. I grew one, big one out of it, and I harvested it. But it was so hard. It was soft at first, but as it got older, it got hard. And so I didn't want to just throw it away, so I threw it in my blender and grinded it up into a powder. And I literally take a little spoonful of it. But I probably already got some lion's mane in my mix. But because I made that and it's sitting on the counter, I just scoop a little bit extra into the mushroom coffee every morning. But I know that I need to continue doing what I need to do for me. And I have to learn to put me first. Because if I don't put me first, then I'm just like, I'm not even last. I'm just, I'm not in the race anymore. And I'm learning that from listening to, the the Black Mother Wound, and all the other podcasts I find to listen to help me on my journey. I know it's late in the game for me, but it's never too late. And I'm going to get it together.